Hey guys, God bless. Welcome back to my channel. I am Charlene and we are going to continue our conversation on modesty. This is probably going to be like a 10-part series because there's a lot to cover. I have a lot to say. We already talked about, we did an introduction. We did convictions, and I believe this video should be next because y'all know I'm random all over the place. And I got like my little sidebar notation here. So if I did a video, I should have checked it off. So we did convictions. I'm going to talk about, let's talk about advice. Let's go into that. Which if you see this, get up in more than one video, just know I'm working, I'm grinding here, taking advantage of the kiddos being busy. But anyway, let's talk about advice. Advice from me as a Christian woman, as a young Christian woman. I feel like someone who I've been through a lot in perspective of dressing and trying to dress appropriately and, being convicted. And I feel like I have some constructive advice, not just criticizing and, talking junk. I feel like what I have to say will be beneficial. I grew up in a predominantly female family, including my immediate family. I am one of 5. I only have one brother on my mom's side, and he was the last to be born. So we grew up very comfortable around each other because we're all girls. But I since discovered that comfort should not have override appropriateness. We pretty much had no regard to like body type, body structure, what's visible, what's not, even to my little brother. And even now looking back on it, it's like that was wrong on our behalf. We didn't know any better. And to be honest, my mom, she was not the type to kind of create structure and boundaries either. And a lot of that will probably have to do with the fact that she was a single mom and we never had a live-in long-term situation with a male figure or anything. And even when situations arise in the short brackets of time where there was someone popping in and out the home, things got really rough and really disturbing. And all these things I think people should pay attention to more often, because just because you're comfortable enough to lay down with somebody doesn't mean that your environment should remain the way it was before. I even know of a situation where a little girl completely undressed, relocates from the bathroom to the bedroom, which is about 12 feet away from each other. And this is considered a norm in that house. And obviously, I'm pretty sure me even telling you guys this, you're probably like, are you serious? And I'm like, yeah. And yeah. And that just goes to show that different people have different norms. And this is something that we as Christians should be aware of. Not make excuses or justification for, but just be aware. Like, you're witnessing and you're talking to other people, please understand that their norm, which may not be appropriate, differs from probably you, even what you have experienced, and probably even any idea in your mind that will cause you to even present your case to them in the first place. And like I said, my perspective, poor, poverty-stricken, growing up, from majority female home, I can see now that a lot of things that we done was not appropriate and was not okay. And it wasn't because I became grown or I became saved to realize these things were inappropriate. I actually had to come into a structure where I now is predominantly male figures here. And it's like, oh, that's not okay. And we made the adjustments accordingly. Now, obviously, some were easier than others. Like for me, when I'm home, and especially when I'm about to go jump in that bed, the less is more. That's just the honest truth. So the guideline or the line drawn was, hey, When we go in and shut this door, you guys do not just come in here. And that's another issue that a lot of people don't really see as an issue. But I know for me and my husband, we drew that line and say, this is our bedroom. This is our space. You guys don't get to pick and choose when you walk in and out. You don't come in without knocking. The list goes on, like appropriateness. And I feel like that should be a standard foundation for anybody, because you're not going to be able to erase any images from your children's mind once they have been planted. So you don't want to be sitting there dressing inappropriately and your children walk in and they see you, or you're in the middle of something because you forgot to lock the door or something. There's nothing you're going to be able to say and do to make them forget those images. Trust me, I know firsthand. And they are traumatizing. And you want to just eliminate that possibility of the situation. Some people argue there's a different perspective of modesty or appropriateness between being home and being in public. I would say you have to be careful, because practice makes perfect. If you are used to just letting it all hang out here, what's going to stop you or deter you, or what length of comfort are you going to have when it comes to people, visiting you, or, your children getting older? Because with Jace, before now, Jace has seen a lot. Before his memory built, he was a baby. So it wasn't like, oh, let me hide this and hide that, especially because I was breastfeeding. But now that he's 3, and his memory is there, and he's aware, he asks questions. It's like, okay, Jace, mommy has to go into the bathroom and the door has to be shut. That's understood. He's now at the age where we cannot even play or tolerate anything less of him, because he now is building memory. And I don't want my child remembering my body parts, and like I said, there's a whole lot behind the home thing, but even going out in public and things of that nature, like I want children to see me go out and let modesty be the goal. Like, mommy has no business wearing leggings where you can see my underwear line and things of that nature. Mommy has no business going out with dresses that show every ounce of pound that's in me. Like, that's not okay. And I thank God that so far, my 14-year-old daughter is not, she's not rebellious to what we have to say to her and advice. She reminds me a lot of myself when I was growing up. Like, she wants her jeans fitting, but she wants her shirt big. And that kind of helped me a little bit to not look like I'm trying to sell myself, because we're built women, if I'm trying to say, like, we have nice shapes. So when you have nice shapes, it doesn't take much for someone to look in lust, if that makes sense. And a lot of people want to fight against that and say, well, it's not my problem. Yeah, you didn't create your own body, God did, but who are you going to fight about it? Like, God created you and he created your body the way it is, but that doesn't give you a pass to be inappropriate. There's a lot of fine lines that people want to dabble with, like net lines, the length of dresses and skirt. You have people who are pro short but loose, and then you have people who are length and skin tight. And it's like, both of you guys are wrong. Like, I don't care how wide and loose my dress is. If it's right up under my buttocks, if I bend over or sit down too quickly, I'm going to show everything. And I don't care how long my skin tight dress is. If you can see my boobs or the shape of my butt or my panty line, that's inappropriate. Like, it doesn't matter how long it is. And these are excuses that we cannot continue to allow or even tolerate. I seen a glimpse of a video of a pastor that was cussed out because he told this male visitor, girlfriend or wife or whatever, he actually got one of the ushers and the mothers to try to cover her up during service. And this was during prayer, people coming to the altar. So, because, coming to somebody's seat, that would kind of probably get weird. But if you're choosing to get up and make your way to the altar and you have on something inappropriate, the church has every right to suggest covering you up, or you may be seated. And that's that. Like, me personally, I don't have any quarrels with that. I think that's decent. I think that's okay. I think that's appropriate. Like, I told my husband like this, and we have the same thought process when it comes to this. if you're choosing to worship with us, then that means you are choosing to comply with our rules and regulations. Just like we have this thing with hats, you know, like if we're praying, we're worshiping God, no hats. Like your covering is God. You don't need to have a hat on your head. That's inappropriate to us. And some may argue, say, you know what, hat doesn't bar anything. A hat doesn't stop God. I don't have any quarrels with you, but when you go visit people's homes, you comply to their rules. Like I know people who raise their children different than me, but understand when you come here, no, we will not have children in grown-up space. No, we will not have children using profanity and listening to secular music and things of that nature. Like you comply to the rules of this house. And the same will be said about dress code and things of that nature. Now, people are grown and they're going to wear and do what they want. And that's a problem sometimes, but people always follow on the fact that they're grown. But when did being grown stop us from making immature decisions and choices? It does not. We're still growing and we're still learning. But there's a lot of things, even with dressing appropriately as a woman, that aren't taught, like slips. They're considered old and out of fashion, out of date. And if you say so, then let's move on to what's modern. Spanx. Spanx they're being used to kind of form fit the body, but also they're used to take an inappropriate situation and being like a safety net. Like if your dress is a little maybe too short, or maybe you're doing something or a lot of walking and activity and you don't want to just let it all hang out, then Spanx actually serve as that safe net where if something happened where someone is able to view more than what they should, you have on Spanx so they're not seeing your bare bottom of your body. Me personally, like I said, my issue I talked about in my other videos was form-fitting dresses. Short dresses became an issue, not because I wanted to be, but because my body changed. And Spanx helped a little bit, but after a while, it began to be like, no, you just got too much going on for that. You know, you just have to be reasonable with yourself and say, okay, is this glorifying God? Like, is he getting glory? And I always often say to myself, if Jesus was here, would I feel ashamed? And if we size everything up to that, we'll probably make better, wiser decisions when it comes to how we dress. The same thing like, you know, your speech in front of a minister or pastor versus your speech at home. To me, if there's a difference, then there's something going on with you that needs to change. God is all knowing and all powerful and he's all present. So what difference does it make if a pastor is in front of me or from at home? My speech should be the same. My talk and my walk should be the same. My dressing should be the same. I also feel like that about church and outside of church, which is something that I got convicted about. Like, okay, you say the dress is okay to go run to the store, but it's not okay for you to go to church in. That's a problem. And I'm not speaking on formal, informal. I'm speaking on appropriateness, like too short, too tight, or whatever the case may be. Another thing that doesn't get talked about much, which I touched on my other channel, was like fitting of a bra. The fitting of a bra can make a huge difference in what someone's top looks like. I know for me, I'm a little beyond average in that department. So low neck dresses is a no. Like I can't even play with that. I also, because of something else, which I'm not going to blankly say, but us women should get the picture. Because of that, I can't necessarily stick to a lot of thin dresses or lighter, you know, like white. Like I would not wear white. I would not wear a white, like silky polyester style dress. I just wouldn't, because then another issue might occur that I cannot help, but it can be covered. You know what I'm saying? It can be altered. The difference between lace bra and padded bras, like what is for, what is the design helpful towards your dressing or how you're carrying yourself. These are things that I honestly feel like when churches get to a certain point, there should be classes. I feel like the older women should teach the younger women and the women should be listening. But I guess a lot of people look at that as being invasive and doing too much, but I feel like this should be a norm. Like there should be a member seminar or something that says, hey, welcome to our church. Here's the little, because most people do classes anyway. So if you're going to do a class, throw in appropriate dressing and attire, and don't just throw it in their face, but give examples and alternatives. Because I think that's something that's wrong too, where we quick to say this is an issue and a problem, but what is your resolution? Like, we know low neck dresses or low cut dresses cause for a mother or someone in church to have a safety pin, you know. But show me and tell me, give me advice on where to shop more appropriately. You know, a lot of people are familiar with standard stores, but what else is out there? Like, where do you get your dresses from? And obviously within age appropriateness, like, I wouldn't expect to take full wardrobe advice from someone who's 80, because we're not gonna like the same thing. That goes beyond being modest. Like, we may just generally been from 2 different generations, and we may not like the same prints and patterns, you know. But there's videos, there's advice, there's obviously scripture that if you continue to read and stand firm on his word, then God will show you what's right and what's wrong. And this differs from person to person. Like I said in my other video, like, I may be convicted because my dresses are too tight. Yours may be too short. But in general, there is a guideline and there is a foundation, and we need to build from that up and not play around that line. You know, like, make it evident that, hey, we are set apart. We are light. We are salt. We are to make a difference. A lot of people want to throw hair and makeup and jewelry grouped into modesty in the equivalence of dressing. Me personally, I do think there's a modest structure for those things, but I feel like there's enough going on where they can be separated. Like, talking about dressing and then talking about hair and stuff is an entirely different thing, and it's probably even more touchy because, like, for example, my husband does not think bright hair colors is modest. He thinks that draws attention to your hair and not your heart and not what you have to say. Like, when people see you, they're going to notice your hair, and that's what they're going to focus on. And to him, that's no different than if my dress was tight or if my dress was showing my figure and my shape. Me, I'm like, I get where he's going, but I feel like I can't lust after your purple hair. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't sit there and drool and dream about your purple hair, but I would be able to do so if your chest, not me personally, but make an example, like if your chest was exposed and puffed up, or if your buttocks was perfectly aligned on it, you know, like, those things will make someone look on and like, I wonder what that looks like further, you know, like curiosity and things. But purple hair or having more than one hose pierced, those things to me doesn't cause someone else to sin, you know, like, that's just my opinion. But I would say he ain't got to worry about it, because I'm not going, you know, gonna throw color in my hair. I don't have 1,000 pierced, you know, I don't do those things, so he ain't got to worry about it. I'm really plain Jane. But I want, under this video, I want people to comment, and I want people to give their best advice as far as appropriateness. Like, what if my dress is too short? What can I do? Maybe I'm out of town and I just heard and threw something on. I don't have any options of choice. I don't have money. What can I do? What if it's my V-neck is too low or whatever? You know, give advice. Let's talk. Let's help one another, and let's guide one another, because a lot of this in the community is you're doing something wrong, but there's no solution. We have to provide the solutions. And my solution and my best advice is obviously to pray about it and talk to God directly. Like, hey, God, there was a conversation about modesty today. In what area of my life can I do better? Is there anything wrong with my wardrobe? I remember just recently I went in my closet, and, you know, obviously I done had Bella, so body change once again. Like, you have a new body after every child, and my phone is dying. Yee. But anyway, true story. And I began to walk and look and see, you know what, okay, let's get rid of this. Like, let's get rid of this, like, get rid of this. And I got rid of almost half of my closet on the basis of praying and asking God, okay, what do I need to change? What is inappropriate? And obviously writing this out and talking to you guys, because I have to be an example. I have to be a light. And like I told y'all, the biggest thing God has dealt with me about was presentation. Like, girl, do your hair, put in your earrings, make sure your face isn't pale, put some lip gloss on, and just you know, you're a representation, not only yourself, but your kids and your husband. And that's big. But, you know, don't use the excuse that my husband doesn't pay me attention. It doesn't matter to him, or he actually likes some of the inappropriateness, because at the end of the day, you have to answer to God, and he's going to divorce you because you choose to turn the inappropriateness down a notch. Then the issue is in his court, you know. So you still have to do your part, even if no one's offensive or being offended by what you do or say directly, or how you dress. Like, we still have a duty to check ourselves. Like I was telling my friend the other day, we were talking about carefully asking questions, and I was like, I'm sorry, I should have thought about what I said. And she was like, girl, you talking to me? And I said, but no, because practice makes perfect. You may be comfortable and understand where I'm coming from, but a lot of people may hear me and see me and say, whoa, what's up with her tone? Or why is she so aggressive? Why is she so blunt? You know, so I have to practice engaging in kind conversation without the bluntness, without the blows, without the roughness, so that collectively as a community, I can talk to people on the same level and be the same Shar, and not seem fake or harsh to one and light to some, you know, like the same across the board. But that's my advice. Notice I didn't say necessarily come on here and just check out all the Modesty videos, because a lot of them miss the mark. That's the honest opinion. And not to say that mine's perfect. There's a lot more I have to discuss, but we're at 20 some minutes and we're going to cut it off right here. So I love you guys. God bless. Take care. Bye.